topic. So when I was talking to Naomi and the organizers here, and there was an analyst who talked about this protectionism that's coming about, and the invariable linkage, direct linkage of outsourcing, and often outsourcing is synonymous to offshoring and job loss. And you may have heard the President's State of the Union address. Outsourcing was mentioned 3 times, and every 3 times in a derogatory way. So I started thinking about this because I know we've hired a lot of people in the U.S. We outsource ourselves. We are a $7 million company. Our back office is outsourced as well. So I started going into this and started thinking about what are some of the ways we're doing that. And the U.S. economy is very consumer spending focused, right? So you hear our politicians, you hear our economists talk about we've got to sell. People have to buy 15 million cars every year. Otherwise, the auto industry is going to go bust. Or we'll have to, the stock market, watches like a hawk the Black Friday sale or the Christmas sale, because most of our economic activities is so linked to consumer spending. And this is where, even though a lot of our economic indicators are positive, but because we have 15 million people who are unemployed, they don't have the paycheck to buy things. And that's kind of a vicious cycle. And what's also interesting, and this I'll address this in a few slides, is there is also a $3 million number of jobs that are open. And I mean, we have positions that we are having difficulty filling because the skill set is not available. So there are some folks who are in high demand. There are others who can find jobs when there are open jobs. I started logically thinking about this. So how do, if you don't think about the government creating jobs, it's really the private sector. When does a company hire? A company hires when they have profitability, sustainable profitability. And what I've been seeing in recent times is profitability has been very much linked to cost reduction. So because I think probably companies feel that's easier to do, that's in their control, it takes less effort, whatever the reasons are. So it's very cost focused. The entire dialogue, entire discourse has been very cost focused. And very logical, I've been a CFO, very logical, easy answer is labor arbitrage, offshoring. So every headcount I have, if I can move into a low-cost country, I get 50% savings, and then I can really save others or deliver the cost savings that I'm being constantly asked to do. But then where does that get us to in terms of job gain? So it's directly opposite to the job creation. So while I debate with people who link outsourcing to job loss, but there is some fact to it. But then you start thinking about the other lever, right? So it's a fraction. It's a numerator. There is a numerator and there is a denominator. If cost is a denominator, revenues are the numerator to come up with your profitability. So I started thinking. So how do you grow revenue? How does a company improve their profitability? People are unemployed and they're not buying things. And you take a global view and you say, okay, where are people actually still buying things? So these are some industry statistics that India has a growing affluent population, and they love to shop, and they're buying. They love to buy Western things, and so are other countries in Asia and Middle East. And so by very conservative estimates, there's almost $3.6 trillion that they will of goods and services that they will buy between now and 2020. The China phenomenon, we all know about this. Even if you have that number of 18%, they're buying, they're growing. And compare that to the US. And then couple that with the fact that US corporations, because of this volatility, because of the uncertainty, they're sitting on a very large pile of cash that they're not investing in they're being very risk averse, they're not investing in businesses, they're not investing in hiring people in anticipation of growth. And that's again a vicious cycle. If you don't hire people in anticipation of growth, or if you don't innovate, you will not grow. And I've seen companies, cut fat, then muscle, then bones, and just go out of business. So is there another way? Is there a better alternative to this? So let's take the revenue lever. And how do you get revenue? So you've got to get to new markets, because there's only so much you'll be able to sell here, and on products and services, and that will generate need for new talent. Because and I'll get into the details of that. That's precisely the crux of the presentation, and that can truly help us create jobs here. And as I thought about this, and I said, before I pitch this to others, did we do this ourselves? And we did. So if you look at Circle, we're a publicly traded company, so this is all public information. So if you look at our financial results for 2011, our US revenues actually declined, because a large part of that revenue is dependent on government spending, and government spending is slowing down. However, our revenues in the growth markets of Asia, Middle East, Australia, and Africa grew by 62%. And profits, this is very profitable income. I always thought that if you're selling in a lower cost country, you probably sell for a lower price, and that's not true. So I saw people buying Apple iPhones in India for $700. I'll never have bought one in the US for that amount of money, but people, that's the only option, and they will buy it. There's a book called Revenue at the Fortune at the Bottom of the Pyramid, where people buy soap and things every day, daily consumption basis, because they can't buy more. And if you look at the profitability on that little sachet of consumable, it's tremendous. It's way more than what you will be paying at a Costco or any store, even a retail store here. So that's the balancing act we did. And if you see our overall revenues grew, our dividends to our shareholders, who were primarily Western citizens. And then, as a result of that, what we felt is that we could invest a lot of that into Western markets, because we're not going to just leave Western markets because all the profits in Asia, but we'll have to invest to differentiate ourselves more, and that's where we're hiring. This is only on a small part of our business. Our larger part of the business is hiring at a much bigger pace. We actually just set up 1,000 FTE call center staffed entirely with veterans in Louisiana, in a very poor part of Louisiana, where there are lots of veterans, and it's way below the federal poverty. So it's really taking foreign growth market revenues, profitable revenues, and investing that in mature markets to differentiate. And this has a long-term effect as a company. So you're a much stronger company that way. Because if you survive, and if you can penetrate and be profitable in the Western market, you do really well. So very simplified, and I've been fortunate enough to be involved with outsourcing for a long time. So I was involved in the industry's first $1 billion plus BPO deal, almost more than a decade ago. And as I look back, and it's a simplified view, obviously. If you look at generation 1, and by the way, the different generations don't have a definite cutover point where they change to the next generation. One does, the previous generation did not. So there's still generation 1 going on. There are deals being closed. That's in that generation. But it was very much the dialogue was around core versus non-core. What's core to our business and what's non-core, and we can live with giving the non-core out to a supplier. And the discussion was also around. So one of the largest and first deals in outsourcing was with a very large oil and gas company, taking their back office and giving it to one of the largest tier 1 consulting companies, professional services companies, because what they felt was they had the process skills and the improvement and domain expertise to really drive efficiencies and cost reduction, which would be very expensive for that company to just hire as consultants to do. So that was the whole value proposition there. Primarily onshore.